All right, so in this tutorial, we're going to talk about keeping score. And you can see in the top right, I destroy these cubes and my score goes up. So let's talk about how we did that. Delete this first. Okay. So the first thing that I did is I went into my first person character, which again you can find under your world settings. Go to your first person character under game mode default pawn class and click on the magnifying glass and then just double click, or you'll find it under your first person BP blueprints. So in this, you're going to create an integer variable called score by clicking on the add a variable, change it to integer and give the name score, hit compile, and the default value should be 0. Next, I created a new blueprint and I called this blueprint target, BP target. It's an actor. Oops. Okay. So in this BP target blueprint, I just added a cube by adding component. And it's important that you set the cube to have collision generates hit events. This box right here should be ticked. So whatever if you don't do a cube, you do whatever shape you want to do. Just make sure that this is set to true. Now in the event graph, I went in and I right-clicked, added an event on component hit, which should be the top one. And what I'm doing here is I now have two blueprints, the target blueprint and the character blueprint, and I'm trying to communicate between the two of them. So what I'm going to do is do what's called a casting, which is pulling another blueprint's information. There could be multiple instances of this blueprint on the level. So because it's first person character, we're going to tell it by dragging out an object, get player pawn, and we're going to choose player index 0, which is the default, which means it's going to take the first person to spawn on this level and only look at them. This is not going to work for multiplayer. And then from there, we're going to drag this out. And because you've already created the other one, you should be able to type in score, and we're going to get the score. And then we're going to do from here a plus. And I did integer plus integer. And then I chose 10, but you can choose whatever you want. And then over here, we're going to pull it out from here again, and we're going to do set score. So set score. And we're going to take the score and we're going to add 10 to it. So the current score plus 10 is our new score. Then we're going to destroy the actor. And that just means that the cube will disappear, this instance of it. So that's pretty much everything. Finally, you need to go back into your Jetpack HUD widget. And if you can't find it, just go to your filters. It's a user interface. And right here. So if you just check that box, you should be able to find it. And I created a new text box from here, text, and I made it nice and big so that the words will appear. You can change it to whatever color you want. You'll find the font size and family right here, and that's also where you can check the color. So make it whatever color you want, make it whatever size you want, and then you have to click on this bind button. Oops, that's not it. For next to text, there should be a bind button. You're going to create a binding. And when you go into the graph here, you can see this is what the binding looks like. So, oops, that's the wrong one. This is what the binding looks like. So from get text, we're going to cast again to first person character, get player pawn, index 0. And then we're just going to get the score from here. Just type in score. And if you drag this pin to this pin, it'll automatically stick this to text. It's going to turn the integer into text so that it can turn into a string so we can read it. Because this already plays on your level, you should be able to now see it up there without having to go into your level blueprints. And if you can't, or if you're new to this, just go into your level blueprints and make sure that this code is set. Create widget, set it to jetpack, and then add it to viewport. So now you can start, you can put these cubes wherever you want on your level, and your character can actually start accumulating a score. Points.